Hey Rob,
Good talk.
I'm gonna did Harrison get his imaging back yet? Can you tell us anything more on him and his status?
Yeah, no major tear or strain. He's going to come in this afternoon and get some treatment, and we'll know more tomorrow.
He sounded really confident, I guess, last night that he
Yeah,
would be able to come back.
yeah, I think, and again, we'll know more tomorrow. But I think after the game, they stretched him out. They got him moving around a little bit, and I think he felt a lot better after that. So, yeah, we'll know whether he's available to start or at least a pinch hit. We'll know more tomorrow.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Now, next we'll go to Matt Gelb. Matt,
I'm wondering, Robert, as you went back and maybe rethought or rewatched the game, was there anything that you wanted to redo, like in the middle innings there with the pitching, or do you feel like, I mean, was Suarez, when you think about it again, like could Suarez have been a guy there in the middle, um, you know, to start the seventh inning, I guess, with Ohtani do up third there?
No, I think we played it exactly the way I wanted to play it, and we talked about that situation going into the game, and D-Rob in my mind was the guy to go to there and stay with him, even though he hadn't done an up down all year. But he's an experienced guy. Felt like he should be able to get through it. A long at bat to Pahe. And then unfortunately they hit batsman, so that put us, uh, behind the eight ball a little bit. But like I said, Strom, for the most part, did his job. He got the strikeout and the pop up, and just made a mistake. Just didn't hit his spot, and that's going to happen every once in a while.
And when you rewatched some of the at-bats, did it really strike you maybe how you guys saw a lot of pitches in the zone last night, and really stayed mostly disciplined to kind of the game plan you wanted, but still didn't see results?
Yeah, I thought, especially the bottom of the order, I thought we really had pretty good at bats all night long. The guys at the top, they pitched them tough. A lot of breaking balls. Ohtani was really tough on them, but I thought the guys at the bottom did a nice job.
all right, next we'll go to Scott Lauber. Scott,
We've talked so much over the last few years about the advantage that you guys enjoy at home. Um, we saw you guys, win a record number of home games there this year at Citizens Bank Park, and of course in the playoffs. But you've lost four of your last five home games now in the playoffs. I wonder if you sense anything different in the room in terms of how guys handle playing at home in the postseason? Do they put a little extra pressure on themselves? Is there anything different from kind of 22 and the early part of the postseason in 23 when home field was so dominant for you?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't feel that. Our crowds have been outstanding. It was really loud and boisterous and rabid last night, and just like our normal playoff uh, fans are. But I don't sense any extra pressure. I feel like they're loose. I feel like, I mean, we made a lot of good plays on defense last night. We pitched well. We just didn't get the big hit when we needed it. We had some chances. You know, it's the way it is. I think it's just kind of the ebbs and flows of the game, and we got to come out here tomorrow night and play well.
all right, next we'll go to Tim Kelly. Tim,
Hey Rob, you had Ranger available out of the bullpen last night. Do you anticipate in game two he's also going to be somebody available out of the bullpen?
I think so. I think we'll have probably everybody available, really, other than Sanchi. And then we'll figure out game three if we use everybody. But I would think that we'd use, if we were going to use, um, so I'm sort of I'm talking about um, Ranger and Nola being available. I'd probably use only one of those guys unless we absolutely had to, just so that the other guy can start game three.
Would Ranger maybe be more in play for a leverage situation, or do you think it'd be similar to?
Possibly, yeah, possibly.
all right, next Dave Uram. Dave,
Hi, Rob. To follow up on Scott's question, how surprising is it to you that with how good you guys have been at home, that you've lost four out of your last five postseason games at CBP?
Um, I mean, it's just the way it is. You know, maybe a little bit surprising, but it's, and I know not everybody likes the term, but it is baseball, and sometimes you lose some games at home, and you got to play well, and you got to pitch, and you got to play defense, you got to swing the bats, um, play small ball at times. I think it's just the way it is, and it doesn't mean we're not going to come in here tomorrow night and play well. I know that we play better at home. I feel like we're more comfortable at home. That's for sure. So, they'll come out here and they'll be ready to go tomorrow night.
All right, back to Matt Gill. Matt.
What did you like about how you guys pitched? I guess Ohtani specifically, but also Ohtani and Betts at the top there in game one.
Yeah, I thought we did a really nice job on those two guys, especially, and really Hernandez too, other than the home run. Um, so I think it was kind of this. Both lineups are kind of the same. The guys at the top were really pitched well and pitched tough, and the guys at the bottom did some damage. So, as long as we keep doing that, if we can keep pitching the way we're pitching against those guys at the top, I think we'll be in pretty good shape.
And do you think that Luzardo, he's an emotional guy? We've seen it in different ways this year. How do you think why do you think he can channel that in the proper way? The emotions of a really important game two for you.
Yeah, I think he's grown. He's learned over the course of the year how to slow it down, and especially in this environment. I'm super confident that he's going to be ready to go, and he'll be able to handle the task and handle the emotional part of the game.
Can I ask one more?
Sure.
I know it was you were trailing at the time, but Kirkering, I mean, like, does he maybe get
Really
in the bigger
good.
spots now? I mean, like,
Right. Yeah, I mean, now it's 3 or 4 outings in a row now where he's been really good and pounding the zone. He looks very confident right now. Breaking ball, he's landing in the right spots. So that's really good to see.
Jesus, does last night's result change anything for you? Do you feel any more pressure or make any more of game two start now that you're down 1-0?
No, I mean, not really. I think it's just another game. In reality, I think in the grand scheme of things, there's been a lot of series this year that we ended up winning after losing game one, that we just bounced back and won two in a row. So I think that's the mentality that we have to take. Obviously you want to get a win. Obviously at home, it's important, but I wouldn't say there's added pressure or anything. It's just, go out and play the game that we know how to play. We've been the best team in baseball at home, so there's a reason for that.
All right, next we'll go to Matt Gill. Matt.
Jesus, I know you're a different pitcher than Chris. Can you take anything from watching how he attacked hitters and maybe some of the swings that they put on him or didn't put on him in game one and apply it to your plan?
Yeah, definitely. I think we always use that. I've been going after him basically all season at this point. And I think for the most part I would do a good job of that, of understanding, like you said, we're different pitchers, but at the same time, left-handed, they take, certain swings or certain approaches against him that might change a little bit with me, but there's something to that, and understanding, how their approach was with him, and how they looked on certain pitches, or whatever it might be. So I definitely study the way he pitched them, and how they react to that.
All right, let's go to Scott Lawler. Scott.
You faced the Dodgers only a few weeks ago in LA. I wonder whether that works to your advantage. Do you think that you've seen their hitters fairly recently, in addition to all the study that you would do against them to prepare for a start?
Yeah, I think it works both ways. Obviously, they get a little bit on you, understanding how you work, and how they see you, but at the same time, you get a little familiarity with them, and their swing pass and their approach and all that, which it might change a little here and there, but for the most part, it is what it is. So I think it's there's comfort in knowing that you faced them a good amount, and especially recently.
So your numbers this year, third time through the lineup, are really good. as you get closer to 100 pitches, also, your numbers are really good. It's not often, right, that starters get to go that deep in games in the postseason, but I do wonder, like, how important that was for you this year to be able to get through a lineup a third time, and kind of what the key is in terms of varying your pattern, maybe, or attacking hitters differently later in a game than you do earlier in a game to account for that success.
Yeah, I think a lot goes into it of the game planning that we have with our catchers with Marchand and JT, and Caleb helps us out a lot with that. But in addition to that is just maybe getting into a groove, finding my rhythm maybe a little bit later into the game. But I think just like keeping hitters off balance, like you said, kind of switching it up on them, finding different avenues to get outs, not staying. Repeatable in the same pattern, which is when players, in a good offensive lineup with a lot of veterans will catch on and kind of catch on to that pattern. So, hitters do their homework and they kind of study. So you try to stay as unpredictable as possible.
Matt, did you have another question? No.
No, sorry.
All right, no worries.
Sorry.
Next we'll go to Daniel.
Thank you, Chris. Hola, Jesús, ¿cómo estás? Buenos días. Chamo, ¿sabes lo que es abrir un juego de postemporada aquí en Filadelfia y ya temprano en tu carrera también te tocó y has visto cómo es la experiencia acá y has crecido en ese aspecto? ¿Qué puedes escribir de lo que es lanzar en estos escenarios y cuánto esa experiencia del pasado y lo que has hecho este año te ha podido ayudar y te puede ayudar también para hacerlo?
Bueno, yo creo que estar en la postemporada aquí, en el otro lado, me ha ayudado bastante saber cómo manejar la energía y la fanaticada, pero a la misma vez yo creo que estar en este lado, en el lado de casa, te ayuda bastante. Pero la experiencia me ha ayudado bastante. Yo creo que también todo el año, este año, hemos tenido muchos fanáticos en casi todos los juegos en casa. Y yo creo que eso es algo que ya nos prepara para la postemporada, como vimos ayer, que básicamente se siente igual que cuando se llena el estadio en el día a día.
La última de mi parte, ¿cómo has sabido manejar quizás las emociones? O sea, las muestras muy bien en el terreno cuando estás lanzando y a veces quizás eso puede jugar mucho en contra, pero también a veces a favor.
Yo creo que que uno tiene que tener una balance entre los dos, que uno quiere pichar con emoción y con energía, pero a la misma vez uno tiene que controlar las emociones, que no puede subir tanto o bajar tanto en cualquier situación. Yo creo que eso es lo más importante, que uno se tiene que tratar de quedar más nivel. Y es difícil, obviamente, en la postemporada todo importa un poquito más, pero uno tiene que tratarlo, como yo dije, tratar de mantenerse lo más nivel posible porque cuando uno sube o baja mucho es cuando vienen los problemas.
Gracias, chamo, éxito.
Gracias.
All right, Matt, go, Matt.
I- I'm curious, Jesus, like, especially in September, the changeup seemed to be something that really came out for you. Like, why? And did you gain a little more trust in using that pitch?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've always internally had a lot of trust in that pitch, but the sweeper, the fastball, they just kind of jumped out early on in the year as my strengths, and I think that we leaned on them heavily. And then as the big league season goes on, hitters start to become aware of certain pitches, and that's when like the more of the mix has to come into play. So that's where like the unpredictability comes in, and understanding that um these hitters are good and they're going to look for certain, they're doing their homework, they're going to look for what you throw maybe the most. So I think we've gotten into a good pattern of now like keeping a steady mix, kind of keeping guys off balance and not having to lean on one pitch more than the other.
I see.
All right, next we'll go to Lachlan.
Hi, Jesus. You mentioned the sweeper. I know that was something that you added in the spring. Why do you think that was able to be such a weapon for you so early on?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was a pitch that I never had anything that went really to my glove side. So for me, that was a big pitch in my arsenal. Everything always ran away from hitters, especially the right-handed hitters. So it helped me that way for left-handed hitters. Obviously, it helped me as well from running away from their barrel. But just something, gave guys a different look, something that I had never thrown to them before. And, I think this game, especially, staying in the big leagues is tougher than it might look. I think that you need to it's a big time game of adjustments, and I feel like that was an adjustment that I needed to make, make in addition to my arsenal. And, thankfully, with Caleb and the guys here, that we kind of fine-tuned it. And like we've been saying, that just understanding where it works and how I can use it to my advantage. And thankfully, we did that.